Welcome to the 76th edition of the Tata Steel Chess Tournament currently being played in the Netherlands. Great tournament, great players, great environment. Don't miss any of the action. These are the participants in the Tata Steel Masters section, the A group. Aronian from Armenia, Karl Nakamura from the United States, Fabiano Caruana representing Italy, Boris Gelfand from Israel, Sergei Karyakin representing Russia, Dominguez from Cuba, Anish Giri, the Netherlands, Wesley So, the Philippines, Nadich from Germany, Pantala Hari Krishna from India, Richard Rapport from Hungary, and Luke Van Wheelie, who I met once and got his autograph, is from the Netherlands. Average rating 2743, category 20. Great tournament. Don't miss any of the action. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. This is another game from round 10 of one of my favorite tournaments. This is the 76th edition of the Tata Steel Tournament, currently being played in the Netherlands. It's got Dominguez from Cuba as white and Aronian from Armenia as black. Let's get right to it. It's going to be a closed reload pay. We'll go through the beginning moves. We've all seen the reload pay a million times. Instead of bishop a5, this is the exchange variation where d takes castles f6, which we all have seen ad nauseum. After bishop to a4, knight to f6, castles, bishop e7, typical closed reload pay stuff. d3, b5, chasing the bishop, bishop goes back, black castles. You're going to see later, boy, I'll tell you. I like Dominguez a lot, but this is a good game. Knight to c3, d6, that bishop's got a choice now where to go. a3, leaving escape square for the bishop. Knight to a5, chasing the bishop. You can see that bishop, he looks buried, but he's got a nice diagonal on black's king. Bishop e6. Doesn't trade. Unlike us amateurs, every time there's ever a trade, we always seem to take. These guys like to leave the tension on the board. Well, frankly, I kind of like taking. When rook takes, that rook's in a weird spot. He's going to have to take with a knight instead. We'll take with this knight. Maybe that's the better way to go for white. I'm not really sure. I'm not a reload pay person. Bishop g5, c5, b4. I've got my Fritz 13 computer on off screen. It's just about dead even right now. So I think black's done well on move 12 for white, and black already has equality. Knight to c6, knight to d5. Get that knight right in there. Bishop takes. I think worth looking at, excuse me, is rook to c8, and after knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes, queen takes, with an even position. After bishop takes d5, of course, pawn takes. Now white has the bishop pair now, so we'll see what he does with it. I don't think as good would be bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, d takes, bishop f6. I think that stands pretty good for black. White's never going to be able to save that c6 pawn. After e takes, d4. Get that knight right up there. That's a good spot for that knight. Pawn takes. And the in-between move, knight takes check, queen takes, and then d takes. Now you're going to see, it looks like that maybe black might get a passed pawn on this side. We'll have to see how it works out. Rook to e1, knight to d7, bishop to d2, bishop d6. We're seeing a lot of maneuvering now. They're getting their pieces. These guys, they like to put their pieces right in the most optimal squares. Every piece is doing something. a4. Computer has suggested rook to b1, then queen e7. After a4, it's almost a point advantage for white, even though I'll say most of that's probably what I call the minor exchange. Black had to give up a bishop for white's knight, so he's up the minor exchange. f5, bishop b3, e4, d takes, c4. Bury that bishop. That used to be a good bishop. Now he's kind of stuck. So black has sacrificed a pawn to bury that light squared bishop. Queen comes right out. Here we go. I'll tell you, these guys go for it. We're on move 22. e5. Here come the pawns. Bishop takes. If he had taken instead, of course it's check. King f1, knight to e5, and white's king looks like he's in trouble. After e5, bishop takes, g3, queen comes for the offer of trading the queens, white exchanges, and c3. I think at this point it's starting to get critical for white. His pieces are in lousy squares. Lousy squares. This bishop's on a bad square. This bishop's boxed in. Don't know what's going to happen here, but I think it's a lot easier to play black. So you're going to end up with a pawn here, and then pawn coming here. That's a good structure with a dark squared bishop. Bishop f6. Bishop b1. He's trying to get that bishop into play. b4. Here come the pawns. Rook to e3. Of course, we all see why pawn can't take, because bishop will take the rook. Rook e3. Rook a to d8. Moving that bishop here, got the bishop into play, but it boxed this rook in. Bishop f5, he's finally got the bishop out, and h5 to protect the pawn. This is where I think Dominguez goes wrong. We're on move 30 for white. The computer suggests rook to b1, hitting this pawn. He goes rook to d1, and the numbers jump pretty good, about 1.5 points, almost 2 point advantage for black. I think he should have played bishop to e6 check first, and after king moves, rook a e1. I think that would have gave himself the best chance. After rook to d1, b3, that pawn sneaks in. Bishop comes back to block. Bishop g5, hitting the rook. He does the in-between move, the check, king to h8, and then he moves the rook to e2. The screws are slowly tightening on black here. Bishop takes, rook takes, knight to c5. Here comes his knight. White goes a5. He can't lose that pawn, so he pushes him. Rook comes over. If he had gone g6, king to g2, king to g7, h4, and black stands very well there. Rook f to e8 wasn't a mistake, just a minor, we'll call it a miscue. And this is where I think I wouldn't call it a blunder, I call it a large inaccuracy. He goes rook to f1. He's trying to get the king over. Trying to get some kind of play on the king, because he thinks he has the black king boxed in. g6. Now the king can come up. Doubles up his rooks. King to g7. Here comes the king. d6. Rook takes, knight takes, rook takes, Rook to d7. And right now, black has a huge advantage. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be Dominguez right now. What else can he do? He can't continue to guard this pawn anymore. Excuse me. So he goes rook d8. Rook takes the pawn. King comes up to e2. And then rook to d3. And this is where Dominguez from Cuba resigns. 11 Aronian wins again. He's guaranteed to win the tournament. He's playing extremely good chess, Aronian. Too bad he couldn't play this well when he was in the candidates final, but oh well. Anyway, folks, that's the second game from round 10. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank all my new subscribers, the many that I've gotten the last couple of months. Thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
And now we're back in the living room. And now, bedroom. Wow. And